Okay, so I know I'm late enough for this, and many have already reacted to this video. And in this video, let's just react to it again. So, uh, recently, Linus Tech Tips. Actually, recently it's been weeks, I guess, and I'm already too late. So, he had taken a challenge called Daily Driving Linux, and it was the part one where he broke out Pop OS or things. So, yeah, we're gonna react on it today. Let's just see the video without wasting any time. Okay, so this is the video. Let's just go full screen and enjoy.
To celebrate the exciting launch of Windows 11, Luke and I are challenging each other to ditch Windows altogether and replace
That's good. That's actually a brilliant decision.
our Windows PCs with Linux for a month. And if either of us caves, they have to dye their hair in red, green, blue, and yellow quadrants permanently.
That's that's hilarious. I mean, so you're just daily driving Linux and you're trying it out. So if you fail in between, then you have to just dye your hair in a rainbow color, and that's also permanently. That will be quite funny, but I don't I don't really want to see them in this way. So yeah, so I don't want to see none of them failing Linux. And yeah, so they are to celebrate Windows 11 launch. They are now trying to use Linux and daily driving it, and they showed a blue screen of death, which most people are familiar with.
Easy, you might say. But I'm not talking about our work machines that are basically just used for word processing and web browsing. I'm talking about our personal rigs, the ones we both use on a daily.
So they are actually not really using this for servers and all. So they are using it on your daily machines. So what they daily use for everything they do, be it video editing, gaming, etc.
basis, primarily for gaming. Has Linux gotten to the point where it's user-friendly enough that any tech nerd can pick it up and run?
Let's
Is
see.
game compatibility going to be an instant deal breaker? Will any of my other applications even run? Who would sponsor this madness? Instantly see your current and past
Sponsor.
is the utterly paralyzing number of choices you have to make before you even get started.
Yeah, that's actually acceptable. That even me, while just going to Linux, well, most people are recommending me Ubuntu. Then I found this is the whole ton of distributions, and it was kind of confusing. So it's often confusing for these new users that which to choose, because there's such a variety. Each perform their own things. This is both the cons and pros of Linux. The pros is that you can just if one doesn't work, you can just hop on to another, and the cons is it just is a waste of it just wastes time, like hopping, and sometimes it becomes an addiction to try out other distros, which I had actually when I was using Mint. Yeah, so people actually told me just to use Ubuntu. I went to Ubuntu, I didn't face it good. So the second most popular distro I heard about was Mint. I didn't try Pop OS by then. So then I tried Pop OS one by one, and finally I settled to Arch after so many stuff. I'm not telling beginners to come to Arch; they will get scared, because Arch isn't the ideal beginner's distro. It can be a beginner's distro for one who wanna code drive into Linux, but for a beginner, you should choose Debian-based distros, or maybe even Manjaro, even distributions like Manjaro or Endeavor OS, which many beginners choose. I have myself placed so many beginners, guided them towards Manjaro, and they hadn't really got any major issues. Now I'm running Arch and Arco in my machine. But yeah, Garuda is actually a great Linux distribution too for beginners, but its system usage is just too much for me. So yeah, now let's see the video.
Started. Now, I could just call on industry contacts or even use internal resources to make these
Anthony.
decisions for me. But the point of this challenge is that Luke and I should be using the exact same resources that anyone else would have.
Okay, so this is basically an experiment on a general user the general user point view. So they are not calling Anthony. I would miss him. He might come just one time in this challenge. Please bring him out.
And with that in mind, right out of the gate, I would forgive the average gamer for making it as
That's
far as Google hit #1 for best Linux distro for gaming and bailing on the entire deal. I mean, nothing against the author of this article. I did pick up some.
that's it's not actually a valid question, like which distribution is the best, because there is no distribution the best for gaming. People, there are so many distributions which are optimized and all, but yeah, at the end-to-end point, what performs better on your hardware doesn't perform best on others. So you can't just tell. You can just never Google. You can just try out stuff, or take some knowledge, I guess, gather some knowledge about Linux distros in real, but never believe the straight cut articles. Those are telling this is best, that is not.
Some really useful information, but it is full of jargon that a non-Linux enthusiast couldn't possibly be expected to know, not to mention seemingly conflicting information. How is it that Ubuntu can be simultaneously easy to use and beginner friendly and a hassle to set up?
That's silly.
Another big one is that customization gets billed as this major selling point for Linux, and fair enough if that's your thing, but speaking on behalf of normies, I don't want a dozen novel ways to do the same thing. I want one fast, easy one. I mean, it's horrible when Microsoft scatters system settings all over the place. I think we all agree on that. And so we should all agree that it's horrible when anybody else does it. I mean, I'm the kind of person who doesn't even rename my video game characters because it makes it a nightmare to look anything up if I get stuck. And there are a ton of other red flags. Let's move on to hit #2 here, this time from TechRadar. Supports several controllers should not be a selling point for a gaming-focused product.
Wait, support several controllers? Well, what? I mean, you can just get this in any distribution. I guess it's Ubuntu based, right? So what's the problem with that? So support several controllers, so you can run the same controllers in every Debian based or Arch based distribution, I guess. So that's silly.
It seems to imply that most of my stuff won't work. And included games are not the reason that anyone chooses an operating system. How are these articles so out of touch? Furthermore, the messaging around what makes an individual distro stand out compared to the other ones gets really muddy in some places. Like the way that these articles are often laid out, it sounds like if I choose the one with support for hybrid graphics, I'm going to be giving up kernel-level gaming optimizations. Or that if I want broad hardware support, that could cost me the customization that I crave. But the truth is that that's not the case. With a bit of elbow grease, the gaming-centric features and tweaks of one distro could be applied to another, but with some exceptions. The Pantheon user interface, for example, is specific to elementary OS. And for a more gaming-related example, TechRadar mentions a feature of Gamer OS, now called Chimera OS, called the Chimera app that sounds super cool. It allows you to easily install and manage non-Steam games and even ROMs for a wide range of retro consoles. Except that if I wanted an OS that doesn't support multitasking, I would invent myself a time machine so that I could go back. But unless I want to really get into the weeds, I better stick with something based on Arch, by the way, like Manjaro or Garuda. Not that that's going to be my final answer. In spite of its spectacularly stupid name, pop!_OS topped just about every listicle that I found and legitimately has some compelling selling points, like demystifying the notoriously difficult process of getting my NVIDIA GPU working properly and making installing the apps and tools that I'm going to need to run my Windows game.
Yeah, Pop in this case, Pop OS has awesome NVIDIA support. So it actually has a separate ISO for NVIDIA users. And basically, I have rarely seen people having trouble with NVIDIA drivers in Pop OS. Do you have it? Just write in the comments below.
Games, a one-click affair with the Pop Shop. If it was 10 years ago and I was looking for a challenge, Manjaro's bleeding edge approach, please forgive the occasional screw-up, definitely calls to me. And did I mention it's based on Arch, by the way? But I want to win this thing without pulling my hair out for a month, and Pop! OS looks like a really good bet for that. It's Ubuntu-based, so if I really want to get under the hood, that's totally an option, but the challenge here is play games, not get your PhD in Linux smartassery.
I, on the other hand, after a lot of deliberation, decided to go with the daring, the uncompromising Linux Mint with the Cinnamon desktop environment. As
One of my most favorite, actually, my I can call it my most favorite Debian distributions, Debian based distributions is Linux Mint. At any point, if I am recommending a user Debian, I'm using him either Ubuntu or Mint, because the Ubuntu 20.04 has made some recent changes, which is the 20.04.3, which has improved the performance. But still, over everything, I just rely on Mint because how stable it is, how user friendly it is.
As for how I think that's gonna go, honestly, I'm pretty confident. I've used Mint before. I daily drove Ubuntu, the distro it's based on, for about 2 years back in school, so I'm not scared of figuring out how to install a GPU driver or use a package manager. I'm comfortable getting my hands dirty with Grub, but that doesn't mean I'm not a little scared of you. I'm pretty technical and I work in development every day, but hardcore Linux chads are absolutely terrifying. You scare me, and I really want this to go well because I still want you to like me when this is all over.
Got my drive ready?
Okay, so the Linux shards, which you mentioned, are those who, if you use Ubuntu, they will just tell you use Arc. You noob, you are a noob. You don't use Arc. So if you choose Arch, then there will be someone calling about Gen 2, and if you just go to Gen 2 again in these gossips of people, they will tell you to do Slackware. Either don't use your computer, just tell them that okay, I'm not using my computer anymore, because that's the most shardic way I can do it.
And Windows couldn't possibly have picked a more appropriate time to just bug the crap out. It's like it knows what's gonna happen. It won't let me click power.
Okay.
Obviously, I'm not 100% committed to this yet, so my plan is to remove my existing SSD from the system. It's not a Gen 4 drive or anything, but I'm not expecting that to matter. I mean, what am I going to be doing? Running direct storage? Ha! Got him.
Okay, so this is what happened last time. My desktop, you can see where it's supposed to sort of end, but it keeps going, and the mouse can go over there. So I'm going to right-click right below the Mint logo. Nothing shows up, but there's the menu. If I try to mouse over these, I can't select them, but if I move my mouse back, it is not installed yet. This is a live boot environment. See if it comes back when I turn that back on. DisplayPort, no signal. Okay.
I was worried that my Thunderbolt connection, I used Thunderbolt to connect to a dock for my main display, was going to cause problems with the installer because there's no drivers installed or anything. So I hooked up my monitor that's here in the server closet, but hey, there it is, just like that. My mouse, he no move. Oh wait, where'd it go? Oh, I thought. Oh wow. Oh, the sensitivity is just so high that.
Okay, so the Mint is probably causing issues with that dual monitor setup, but yeah, I guess he fixed it later on. Now here, Linux is quite happy because Pop OS is for now running fine.
That I couldn't tell it was there. Okay then. Yep, that's the one. Here we go. Full name. Yes.
Just do a quick restart and turn the side monitor off, and it's fixed to the bounds of the screen, and the mouse problem is solved. So just installing directly from the live environment. So I do want the multimedia codecs. It's nice that Mint comes with those. Not every distro does. I haven't decided which drive to actually put Mint on, so I'm not entirely sure where it's installing these media codecs, but it's doing something. Okay, finish the install. It wants me to remove my flash drive. Got it, and then press enter. This is our first login, and we're there. Check video drivers. I knew I was going to run into that installing Mint instead of Pop OS, but that is a challenge I have decided to undertake. It should be okay, but we'll see later. I'm going to go through this welcome manager.
First order of business is to get our mouse speed down from over 9,000 to something more reasonable. That seems working fully. Even my Aquantia network card picked up just fine. I knew audio was going to be a challenge because I don't think the Go XLR has any kind of, oh, this is interesting, output. Hello? Okay, appears to be taking my input.
Wait, Go XLR is not really capable at this chance. Well, you shouldn't have done that. But okay, that can be confusing for people in new to Linux. So yeah, Go XLR is not really such a good thing in Linux. Rather use something else.
Put right now, which is my mic right over here presumably, and turning it into output. Blah blah blah. Yep, that's definitely it. Does this work at least?
Left, front, right.
Okay. Well, I've got the sound at least.
I was looking for a simple way to just list all the hardware connected to the system so that I could verify if my drivers are installed. Linux apparently doesn't really work like that, but I can just install this utility called hardinfo. Not exactly a hard... And I have to type yes. Install that hardinfo thing. You know, it's Steam. Failed to install Steam. Pick a distro. Deep into the weeds on any of this for now, because the goal today for part 1 is to pick a distro, get it installed, and run a game. I will definitely need
Okay, so that's
Steam. Failed to install Steam. Warning, you were trying to remove the following essential package.
Wait, what? 1 second.
We'll definitely need Steam. Failed to install Steam. Warning, you were trying to remove...
Pop desktop, pop session, GNOME control center. It's just trying to remove the whole GUI. Well, what? How is that possible?
The following essential packages. What are you talking about? I've done nothing with this other than install that hardinfo thing. You know what's
not your
hilarious? The
fault.
last time I tried to do anything on Ubuntu, I ran into this exact same thing. I was told, it's super simple. You just install it. No, you do not. This is stupid. Apparently, this is the solution.
No, don't do that. That's just gonna uninstall the whole desktop environment. It will be just booming off the whole thing. Why did you? Okay, so that's not a legit fault of yours. Well, but it just lists it that the GNOME the desktop session is just going to boom around, and just leave it the way you want. I guess system. I guess I never faced this problem below in any distribution in Pop OS 2.
And I have to
Like,
type
great.
yes, do as I say in order to install it. And maybe it will install and launch now. What is the point of having a...
It's gone. That's what I expected.
Hello? Did my computer just hard reset?
It will be.
What? I mean, to be clear, I've seen some broken Windows behavior on first install, but this is...
It's dead.
Oh, he's dead, Jim.
Okay, so we've got the Novu, or however that's pronounced, open source driver. Fantastic, happy they made that. But we are going to try to move to the proprietary NVIDIA 470 driver. Install done, just need a restart. A few more errors than last time, but I think we're still good. Genuine fail, yep.
Anything different from the... Let's see what happens. I don't think I'm going with Pop OS.
Okay, so
Warranty. I can... What? Did I manage to completely...
Yes, you did.
nuke my desktop environment? Like my GUI? How? Just logged in.
I like the way the subtitles were GUI, GOOEY, GUI.
And this is what I got. Ubuntu comes with absolutely no warranty. I can see why. This was a terrible experience. And I think that's where I'm going to have to leave it for tonight, because I found this other post saying, hey, yeah, I had this problem. This was not easily solvable, so had to fresh install. I don't think I'm going with Pop OS again. I mean, that was... You guys were there for the whole thing. That was utterly
Let's try
ridiculous.
Manjaro.
Continuing to install updates. I have turned on my side monitor. One minor issue, I can't go over there with my mouse because my mouse has to go all the way left and then it's over there. So I need to reconfigure the desktops. Right click doesn't get me there.
Okay, so Luke is doing fine with his desktop. He's running Steam. He's just perfectly fine with Linux Mint, so it didn't break. So that's a strange thing. That's then a pop only issue because it didn't happen in Linux Mint at the same time. So yeah,
we'll figure it out.
You know what? No, forget it. The wife's still awake, so I've got Manjaro loaded up here, and we're going to take another crack at this puppy.
good choice.
be clear,
Manjaro is actually one of the best distributions you can choose for gaming in the Arc category. So Manjaro should be awesome for you. Good luck.
Entirely possible that I did something completely wrong, not knowing what I was doing, and I'm responsible for the OS getting bricked. I just also think that with you guys along for the ride...
No, actually, you weren't. You weren't totally responsible. That's understandable. But you can read the log, but that's not totally your fault. Well, it was a Steam package fault, I guess, from System 76.
The things that I did were not entirely ridiculous or unreasonable.
Yeah, so it was pretty understandable, because after all, that was a package issue. That was not your issue. Or if anyone was trying the distro, he would have done the same mistake, because the system is literally telling it to just do, yes, do as I say.
So you can be mad at me for breaking it, but just at least acknowledge that it could have happened to anyone who's not already fully well versed in the black arts of Linux 3. Okay, hold on a second. I didn't manage to catch the boot selector prompt. Started complaining about USB devices. Feels like the old days, doesn't it? I made a video about our 10 gig NAS using Emulex cards. I'll be like,
I need to get Lutris. I didn't find Lutris in the software manager, so I just went to the Lutris website, followed the command line stuff, and I now have Lutris, which we'll close for now and use later.
Okay, so in Linux means
Maybe
all
put in my password
fine.
twice,
Totally
and
fine.
now it's removing. It never stopped trying to do that removing thing, but I just closed the package manager, clicked onto, I'm going to call start. I don't know if it's called start here. And Steam was sitting right there. So I launched it, and it seems to be working. So maybe we're fine. Okay, sweet. I'm going to log in. I'll see you on the other side.
I just want you guys to be here with me for the experience, so that if I completely
Manjaro KD, yeah, good. It's not bad again. Again, it will surely work, because I just tried installing Steam on Manjaro a few days ago before he actually didn't try. I actually installed, so I just guided a friend to install, and yeah, it was completely fine. So I don't expect any issues from here.
explode the
Just keep it out.
now, but what? What is X server? X server gonna give it to you what? Okay, all right. This seems to do kind of what we need it to do.
And then I'll go to shape. I guess we'll do.
Here is
Recently is Cave Story Plus.
okay. So Manjaro worked. Steam worked in Manjaro.
Native freaking.
Yeah,
Let's
not
go, boys.
game.
Oh wait, my sound by the system. I guess we need to figure that out now. Managed to screw it up so royally that I'm here hours later, still trying to figure it out. This is a native Linux game. Let's just play it. And we're gaming. It's running nice and smooth. This is a native game, so this is really not that much of a challenge. My sound still isn't working. Still have no idea why that would be, but we're gaming, and it seems to have just been a Cave Story issue, because my controller is working just fine. I have it tech. Yeah, there you go. Hopefully Luke had an easier go of it than I did. The best part of this whole thing is that we're just getting started. A lot of the games that I want to run, like Supreme Commander Forged Alliance, appear to have ways to run them. Discord looks like there's a way to get it going. It involves a lot of command line. Hopefully I won't brick my OS. But step 2 is getting streaming working. Both Luke and I stream. We both need it working if we're going to run this for a month. So good luck, everybody. Thanks, FreshBooks, for sponsoring this video.
So this was the whole thing. So yeah, actually, this video was pretty nice, pretty knowledgeable for people who are just going and entering the usual Linux environment, that don't just blindly do what the terminal says. First, read the logs. But yeah, and that's a System 76 issue, which I heard is fixed by now, I guess. So yeah, this was it for the video, and I hope the next video of this challenge comes soon, when he daily drives Linux again. And that was all for this video, for me too, as the video is ending now. Thank you for this. Goodbye.